Hey guys, once again, it's Jesse the Couch Movie Critic, and as always, I'm back in the kitchen, and I'm going to do a quick little review. Today we're doing a review of the soft reboot of God of War for PlayStation 4. Call it a soft reboot because it's still the same Kratos, still following up on the old saga, but it's in a new place and a new time. So let's get to the review and let you know what my thoughts are on the game. So let's go ahead and talk about a couple things. Let's start off with graphics. This game is visually stunning from the moment you turn it on. If you have a 4K Pro, what is it, PS4 Pro, it's amazing. If you have a standard PS4, it's still amazing. I my jaw dropped the first time I turned on the game. It's visually amazing. It's so impressive. The game was directed by Cory Barlog, who, if any of you know, he was actually one of the creative designers on the first God of War, and then he directed the second God of War. The guy is a talent. The guy is an absolute beast, and he's done an amazing job with this game so far. In where I've gotten to play now, from my understanding and talking to friends who have don't have small kids and have a lot more time on their free hands, it stays that way the whole way. But Cory Barlog really wanted to make this game have a almost cinematic vibe to it. The camera positioning is very different. It's a lot closer into Kratos. It's a lot more of the getting up there in the face of what you're defeating and battling. Simultaneously, he wanted to give it, like I said, a cinematic flair. There's even immersive mode where you can drop the HUDs and stay where it just looks like you're watching a movie. Now let's talk a little bit about pacing and plot. Story is so far touching. The pacing of the game, let's start with that, is amazing. It's what they're calling a wide linear game. It is not an open world. You can't really just go where you want. You do have a progression and a place where you can go. You can go back and visit things, but there is a directive. There's a path you're flowing with the game, but it allows you to explore and rewards you for exploring. It isn't like the old God of War where we had these linear corridors and things like that. No, you got massive open environments that are happening in real time. One of the cool things about the game is that there are no cutscenes. There is no cutscenes. There's no loading of levels. It just goes. So that leads into the pacing part of it. The game paces out as fast as you decide to. As I said, it's a wide linear game. It allows you to move around in the environment, check things out. You don't have to just head for the main goal. There are other things to do. It is a bit of a sandbox that you are confined to a specific space or area or particular dimension, so to speak, of the game. Now let's talk a little bit about the setting. Now, the original God of War, for those of you that are fans and those of you that may have heard of it or may not know, God of War was set in ancient Greece. The new one, we find ourselves in somewhere in Norse mythology. Doesn't give it a name. It could be anywhere. In the Swiss Alps. It could be Greenland. God knows. There's no name. They have yet to address where exactly it's at, but it involves a world of Vikings, so to speak, or at least their mythology, their mythos, their gods, their religions, their beliefs, things along those lines. So it is really intriguing because you still have that touch of the historical, that touch of the mythology that you had with the original God of Wars, but now you're delving into a whole new one. One of the cool things that I liked about God of War was that I was always a fan of mythology. As a comic book nerd, most of us that look at really what comic books are is that they're the modern day myths. There are versions of Mount Olympus and Thor and all that. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you literally have Thor. In DC, you literally have Wonder Woman and Ares in those worlds. So, again, they're the modern interpretations. So, I've always loved what God of War was and what it did with the Greek mythology and the Roman mythology. With this one, you're now dealing with Norse mythology, which, believe it or not, does have a lot of similarities, but it's very different. Very different aesthetically, very different visually. So it's interesting to see that. Looked at the Roman times, the leather, the armor, all that was very clean, well defined, while the stuff in Norse was more handmade, more rough, more rugged. So you see all of that in the game. As far as characters, voice acting cast, the characters that I've run into so far have been amazing. It's absolutely great. You have T.C. Carter, who was famous for playing God of War. For those of you that are 80s babies will remember him as the dude from Living Single. And he unfortunately did not come back to do the voice of God of War. From my understanding of some of the behind the scenes things I've seen, it had to do with the motion capture and the size of Kratos compared to Atreus for the motion capture. So they actually went with Christopher Judge of Stargate fame. And if you're into really bad movies like I am sometimes, Mecha Shark versus Mega Shark, he was the hero of that film as well. I will tell you that it makes sense because of how much older Kratos is now. His voice just works. What he's going through just works very well, and he's doing a great vocal performance in the game. I'm really, really impressed by what's happening. The idea that he is now coping with a son. One of the things that you never really realized, God of War, Kratos is trying to avenge his wife and his daughter. And he never actually had to deal with having to be a father. And from what the story tells so far, and you find out initially, and I'm talking right away in the game, this isn't a spoiler, is that his wife intentionally had him, or his new wife, Faye, had him doing more of the hunting, the gathering, things like that, while she dealt with raising Atreus. And I don't know if it was because she was afraid of what Kratos would teach him or what the case would be, but he is now having to deal with a son who he really doesn't know that well. There's even some moments where you see that. You see him wanting to be a dad, but he's a Spartan. He's also the god of war. These are things that he just aren't normal for him. So it's really interesting in that aspect. I mean, this is definitely the AAA game that everybody was expecting. They did not drop the ball. Anybody out there hating, they're just hating for the sake of hating. This game has been flawless. Every one of my friends that I know that does have, as I said, more time to be sitting down playing nonstop has said the same thing. It's a fantastic game. I mean, it's just gorgeous. Like I said, visually it's amazing. This is the second skin that comes with it in the game, or on the cover that I have on mine. It has the regular PlayStation 1 on the inside if you saw the review. I would definitely recommend going out there and getting this. The sooner the better, before spoilers really start leaking out of the game. It's one of those things you want to get your hands on and enjoy. Combat system has evolved, I will warn you of that. It is definitely a different button configuration layout, but it is very intuitive once you start using it. The new axe mechanic, the new shield mechanic is amazing. It's definitely something you guys will enjoy. So definitely get out there, get on it. If you don't have a PlayStation, do like my older brother Joe did. Joe went out and actually bought himself a PlayStation 4 just to play this game, and now he's hooked. He's in trouble. So, as always, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you have any feedback, please feel free to message me. And as always, guys, have a great night, and thanks for watching.